This is all too much, entirely too much. Here are my random thoughts on Paradise episode 7. I'm trying out a new mic, so hopefully the sound is okay. If not, we're just gonna have to deal with it, and it's like keeps turning, so I don't know what the reach of it is or if how is it gonna pick up, but we're just testing it out. Anyway, let's get to Paradise. And I took a bunch of notes, so if you see me looking down in this book, this is what I'm talking about. So we start off this emotional episode with a flashback from like 62. And apparently it's this, I was so confused about why we were there, like what was happening, who is this person, like what is happening. But apparently it's some type of general and making a decision. I don't know. It was just something to do with nukes and who was going to make, somebody had to make the choice whether to use them or not. And basically the gist of it is the next time that this happens, is the right person going to be in charge to avoid like total chaos, basically. All right, so we finally understand what exactly is triggering this massive event that could potentially, or from what we understand, in the world. And there's this, something happened that triggers I think there was a volcano that erupted under a Antarctica and resulted in massive tsunamis that was just going to be wrecking and just tearing stuff up, basically. And it's scary because scientists are trying to tell us right now, like, you need to do something, and we got idiots in charge and nobody's listening to smart people, which pisses me off. So the leaders in charge of the world, or specifically the United States, they find out about this and they are making plans for this. And it's so messed up. And I understand why they're doing it, that people act crazy when they think it's snow coming and they just buy up all the stuff. Imagine if you tell people that the world is basically about to end, like what would people do, right? And we see like it's the end, like the day that stuff is happening, and Xavier's wife is still in Atlanta, and everybody's basically heading towards the Paradise Cave. And I believe the president's assistant or secretary, the woman that has a son named Edward, she's like trying to ask Xavier, like, do I need to do something? Like, it's weird because they know these people are about to die and they're not telling them. At least, like, I understood why Cal decided at the last minute, even though I think, why he decided to allow people time, which at that point, I feel like they were out of time anyway. So it really didn't matter. He should have said something earlier before. But all these people in the White House are working. You got press people, Secret Service, the chef, the custodians, who he said he had been there for 9 administrations and he had seen everything. And he's thinking he's going to go see his people tomorrow. Little did he know, he ain't finna see them no more. And I really felt bad for Marsha, because what do you mean I didn't make the list and I've been with you all this time? Like, low key, high key, and I've seen people saying this, like, based off how things left off when they were getting on the plane, and the new guy who had just started, he ends up getting shot by Robinson. Side note, Robinson is a badass, okay? She mean business. But the way that Marsha was looking at them taking off in that plane, Marsha's a candidate for being the person that killed Cal. Like, if she did, I ain't mad at it. Because what you mean you just leaving me? And it really is messed up that they're not letting these people know what's going on. That's so freaking messed up. And question, why are there nukes involved? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. Like, the world is literally ending and there's nuclear missiles headed toward people. Like, wouldn't you want to be, like, I don't understand. Like, somebody explain that to me. Like, why are nukes even in this conversation when we have to worry about tsunamis taking out whole countries and coastlines, and apparently there's a sonic boom involved too? Like, what? Why are you thinking about nukes at a time like this? That's bonkers. So we see the planes taking off, and then Apparently the plane with the justices, I forgot who else was on that plane, ends up crashing due to, I think it was because of a sonic boom. That was just, this episode was just so freaking gut wrenching because you just, yeah. And I think the scene that's going to get Sterling K. Brown his Emmy, all the awards, is going to be right before they got on the plane, and he figures out that Mr. President wasn't being honest with him, and he knew all the time that his wife was not going to make it. And he's having this like war in his mind because on one hand, his children they're on the plane, like, and then his wife he can't do anything, but you're leaving behind your wife. So he has this terrible decision to make, and of course he decides to get on the plane, which I think, of course, was the best thing, because what can you do? There's literally nothing that you can do for her, and your kids need you, because it's better for them to have one parent versus no parent. And they're going to this place where they don't know. It's a whole new world, and basically the world is ending. Your children are going to need you. So yeah, that scene was just gut wrenching. This show is insane, man. This show is wild. Ugh. So then on the plane, and because I really had to understand what was going on, so the president has a choice to make, because he sees that nukes are headed towards the country, and he has the option to, of course, fire our nukes here in the US, or use the blue card, basically to turn the power off, and so the nukes like fall out the sky. And my thought is, if they just fall out of the sky, do they like, I don't understand, like, and this is not funny, I'm just processing, don't take me, just, so they fall out the sky, I guess they're not active anymore, because if they just fall out the sky and land, do they still detonate? And I'm thinking the answer is going to be no, they just become inactive, right? Girl, I don't know nothing about no nukes. So yeah, Cal decides to turn the power off, and it kind of leaves open in the air, like, exactly what happened. Like, did any nukes land in the United States? I saw, like, in previous episodes, I know in Washington DC, which disturbed me a lot, because the Washington Monument was doggone near almost all of it underwater, which is wild. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What? So apparently DC was affected by the tsunami hit, but exactly what happened with the nukes, I feel like I need more clarity on that. Why doesn't he just go ahead and shoot Sinatra? This is so frustrating. So we get back to the scene, and Sinatra and Xavier are in the room, and he has a gun to her head. And of course she's moving about, and then she plays this recording of what we think, or what she wants us to think, is his wife being still alive, and she's looking for him. I personally don't believe that recording is real. I feel like it might be AI. I don't know. I don't trust Sinatra. Shoot her. But now, Sinatra has Xavier's daughter with Jane the batshit killer crazy. And so now he's basically going to be Sinatra's puppet. She wants him to restore stuff, hand over back all the weapons, and yeah, do whatever she says, because Sinatra will kill that little girl, which is why he should shoot her. But yeah, that was such an emotional episode. One of the, like, I haven't seen good television like that since The Last of Us, I want to say, or maybe even Game of Thrones, like not season 8, but you know, with other scenes, which had like great television. That was a wonderful writing, wonderful story. It was amazing television. And then people, like, I watched Kevin on Stage's kind of like review, a discussion with his audience talking about the show, and then somebody asked, they got braided hair down there? Like, how people getting their hair braided? And that's a good question. And are there other black people? Did y'all see a lot of black people down there? Because all I see was Xavier's family and Robinson. Did y'all see other black people down there? And how much hair they got down there? So apparently, I think a writer or somebody from the writer's room responded on Twitter and said that there is a hair salon or braiding. They do have braiding hair, and there is a barber shop as well down there. Hilarious. Like, why y'all worrying about that? It's a good question, but y'all are wild. Anyway, those are my random thoughts on Paradise episode 7. Let me know down below in the comments, do you think that Marcia, the assistant / secretary lady, is the killer of Cal? Whose fault was it for for Xavier's wife not being able to make that plane? I personally think that Xavier should have knowing what he knew, just a little bit of information, I would have been taking all types of precautions to make sure that my wife stayed with me, even though his wife is one of those strong-willed. But I felt like if he made enough of a case to her to persuade her to stay, that she would have stayed. So I felt like Cal did as much as he could, without, telling stuff and possibly causing other ramifications from him telling. I felt like he shared enough for Xavier to pick up on it. So I blame that on Xavier. I felt like he should have did more with his wife and said more. So anyway, what do y'all think? And I will see you next week for the season finale. What a wonderful season of Paradise, episode 8. I'll see you next week. Bye.